bad news for us in the weather department.
Yeah, this is a tornado warning, and I want to stress I don't think we're going to have a lot of this tonight, but let's go right to the graphic system. Let me show you what we got. I'm going to take off the radar data, and you can see that is the tornado warning that has been issued by the National Weather Service in Birmingham. And let me just kind of go and tell everybody who's in the warning. First off, this includes parts of Bibb, northern Chilton County, and the far northeast part of Perry County in central Alabama. This is along a line of severe storms. We've noticed a small area of rotation within that. That possible rotation will be crossing over Highway 82 between Maplesville and Centerville very shortly, and ultimately it comes out, it'll be crossing Highways 139 and 191. 139 runs from Wilton down to Maplesville. Highway 191 runs from Maplesville back up to Jemison. Obviously, at this point, we advise no traveling on those two highways. The Interstate 65 part that is in the polygon is located basically between the Middle Clanton exit, not the Peach Park exit, but the Middle Clanton exit up to the Shelby County line. So anytime we have an active tornado warning polygon, we encourage people not to be driving. So again, the call to action for drivers along Interstate 65, nobody should be driving from the Shelby County line south to the Middle Clanton exit. Now, to the north, we have a severe thunderstorm warning for parts of southern Shelby County. That's basically from Calera on south. This does not include Alabaster, Pelham, Helena, or that end of the county. So that's the way the polygon looks. We'll put the radar data back on. And again, this is going to be a situation where it's going to be pretty hard to pick this thing out in the standard reflectivity, which is what you're seeing right here. But again, we have evidence of maybe a small notch right in through here. And that is more than likely where the possible tornado is going to be. And again, that is sitting on the Perry-Bibb County line. This tornado warning does not include the city of Brent. And understand the way warnings work now, they don't include entire counties. Tornadoes are very small. And the setup we have, if we have something here, this more than likely will be a weaker, rather short-lived tornado, not one of these long-track tornadoes like the ones we saw earlier this evening in Mississippi. You saw the tragic reports coming out of South Mississippi around Columbia, near Laurel, 4 fatalities there earlier. I don't think this is anything like that. If we can, let's go to the Apple TV, Monroe. This is going to have the higher resolution radar. We're going to use this to take a look at the various reflectivity products. And again, you can clearly see the rotation showing up nicely, which is located right here, and that is basically on U.S. Highway 82. I'm going to draw U.S. 82 right there. That blue line is Highway 82, and I would say that rotation right now is very close to the rest area, which is about right here. If you drive down Highway 82 between Tuscaloosa and Montgomery, perhaps you're familiar with the rest area, and again, that rotation is very close to that. So nobody at this point should be traveling along U.S. Highway 82 close to that rest stop between Maplesville and Centerville. And again, watch the progression of this, and you can see the rotation is not especially tight, but it's tight enough to prompt the Weather Service to post this warning. And based on what's happened earlier today, that's certainly, I think, a wise thing to do. And also, this storm is pretty much along the warm front, a surface boundary. Sometimes that can enhance the low-level southeast winds and create significant rotation for some of the storms in through there. So again, this is a rotating storm that is located along U.S. Highway 82, very close to the Bibb-Chilton County line. That is between the town of Centerville and the town of Maplesville. It is moving towards the northeast. This will cut across the far southeastern part of Bibb County, then cutting back up into the northern part of Chilton County. Let's go back to our main graphic system. And again, we're going to bounce back and forth between these radars today to give you a decent look. And I want to show you a new product here in just a second. But again, this is what we've got. This is part of a long line of storms. In fact, let me just back this thing out, and you can see that this line runs from the Birmingham Metro, the eastern part of the Metro, which is pouring rain here. The part of Birmingham getting soaked, places like East Lake and Woodlawn, then down toward Mountain Brook, Cahaba Heights, raining in parts of Hoover very heavily, Pelham, Alabaster, Helena. There's no severe weather involved here, just heavy rain, potential for flooding. That's the main issue there. And then the line runs down to the south. And again, what happens, we hit that warm front boundary right down in through here, and we've got that potential for storm rotation very close to the warm front boundary. And you can see that little notch, which is right there, and that represents the potential for what could be a tornado. We're watching multiple reports coming in from the Weather Service chat sessions, and we should mention first off that the warning is in effect until 6:45. That'll be for about the next 30 minutes. The Weather Service has taken Perry County out of the warning, and that Perry County, the storms have passed through there. So the warning is now in effect for parts of Bibb and Chilton until 6:45. Closest community to that notch is around Lawley. That's in the far southeastern part of Bibb County. But again, that notch is very, very close to US 82, a little north of the rest area. The rest stop is just above Maplesville. The tornado location is closer to the Bibb-Chilton County line. That's about 4 or 5 miles north of that rest area. And again, with that motion, it's going to be moving right in like this over into the northern part of Chilton County. So again, what I want to do is take off the radar data and let you see the active polygon. We like to do this because, again, it's very helpful to, first off, see who's in and who's out. Only the part of these counties in red. If you live in Centerville or Brent, let me stress, you are not under a tornado warning. If you are in Verbena, down in the southern end of Chilton County, you're not in this. This does include downtown Clanton and points north, but I'll tell you that clearly the rotation is going to be passing north of the city of Clanton. But as a course of least regret, if you live in the city limits of Clanton, go ahead and go to a safe place. Wouldn't be a bad thing to do. But of course, up the road here, we have the communities of Jemison and Thorsby, and those two communities are clearly in the path, and certainly Interstate 65. On a night like tonight, Christmas Eve, with so many people traveling, we don't want folks driving along Interstate 65. So if by chance you know someone that's driving along the interstate below Birmingham and north of Montgomery, we advise you to give them a call and just to have them sit it out, pull over at a rest stop or an exit, and just go into a gas station and wait until this thing passes. When I go back to the high-res radar, and I've got some good news, the circulation is becoming broader. We had a volume scan where it tightened up, and now we're getting a broad circulation signal here, and that's a sign that this thing is probably weakening. These rotations will be very short-lived. These will not be long-lasting, long-track tornadoes. And again, if the trend continues in the next few volume scans, there's a decent chance that this warning might be canceled well before 6:45. So I encourage our news crew to just stay in place in case we go back to the newscast. I want to go to a product called Correlation Coefficient. This is part of the new dual polarization product on the NexRad radar. And we're watching for areas of minimum values, perhaps like this. And sometimes when you see a product like that or a minimum CC like that, that's a sign that there could be some debris that was being lofted. I honestly cannot describe if that is a TDS or not, because you can see a lot of spots like that coming off the NexRad on the south side of the circulation. Gut feeling, it is not. I would not call that a tornado debris signature at this point. And again, we'll go back up to the velocity display. And again, you can see that first off, that's the reflectivity, and that's just a long line of storms. And this is the velocity, and this is the telltale product that is very broad, and quite frankly, that is not representative of a tornado at this point. So that's a very good sign. We have very broad circulation over the far southeastern part of Bibb County. So let's go back to the main graphic system, and I'll put the radar back on here. We'll let you see an animation of this. And again, here comes the loop. And unfortunately, this isn't a part of Alabama. We don't have any active sky cams. One of the things we have learned through social science studies is that people watching radar, and in the case of where I'm doing this now, I'm not even on camera, but it's much more effective if we communicate severe weather to you with actual live images of weather. Of course, the problem we have, it's dark, and the other problem, this is a just big old massive rain, and even if we had a camera very close to this spot, you wouldn't see hardly anything. So we're having to use radar a lot this evening. The line is racing through at a pretty good clip. And again, let me just stop that animation. And again, right back in through here is where we're watching. This is along the Bibb-Chilton County line, right in through here. And this is this broad circulation. It's crossing out of Bibb County. In fact, in a few minutes, we can give Bibb County an all clear. It will be passing across the northern part of Chilton. If you live in Jemison or Thorsby, we still recommend that you go into a safe place until the warning is canceled by the Weather Service. And if they continue to see several volume scans where the circulation is very broad, more than likely the warning will be canceled. And the other thing I can't stress, it's the fact that we have a lot of flooding problems. I would say the biggest issue, it's not from tornadoes tonight, it's going to be from flooding. We have an aerial flood advisory for Jefferson County, and that is it's a quagmire, to say the least, for many people that are trying to drive or travel to relatives here on this Christmas Eve. So again, what I'll do is take off the doodling, and we'll go back and show kind of a larger view. And let me just stress, in other parts of the state, if you're up in the northwestern part of Alabama, it's pouring. In places like Double Springs and Haleyville and Fayette and Vernon, there's no severe weather threat at all. You are in stable air. What we're going to have to watch, it's areas over here to the east of that line where the air is relatively unstable and there is a warm frontal boundary, a surface boundary, and the low-level winds are backed around that. And again, that might create an environment for some rotating updrafts. But again, this continues to be less than impressive in terms of the tornado threat. The biggest issue, it's going to be this tremendous rain. And again, in the Birmingham metro, the heaviest rain is coming out through the eastern suburbs, from Pinson down to Clay Chalkville, Trussville, right down Interstate 459 through Liberty Park, parts of Mountain Brook, down into the Inverness area along the 280 corridor, then down into Calera at the Shelby County Airport where the radar is located, and then back down into that Bibb Chilton County line where we have the potential for a tornado. Let's go back to the high-res radar. And again, this is the velocity display, and we're just going to work these things back and forth. And again, that is not a really classic tornado signature right there. So if we continue to see a number of volume scans just like that, there's a good chance that the warning will be canceled before 6:45. It's scheduled to go for 30 more minutes. I don't think we even if something stays there, this thing is moving along at such a pretty good clip that more than likely we're not going to have it lasting until 6:45 this evening. So let's go back to the main graphics system, and I want to show the watch warning map. And the Weather Service, I should point out, is issuing now an aerial flood advisory for parts of, in fact, for all of these counties: Autauga, Chilton, Coosa, Dallas, Lowndes, Shelby, Talladega, and Jefferson. So those counties are under an aerial flood advisory. That is just one step under a flash flood warning, and it's just nasty for traveling. So again, Autauga, Chilton, Coosa, Dallas, Lowndes, Shelby, Talladega, Jefferson counties, those counties are under an aerial flood advisory. And if you're driving, you're just going to have to be patient, take it slow and easy. We had a number of accidents this evening, and you can get there. It's just going to take you some time. And again, the reason we are here, and again, we apologize that you're not watching our regular newscast. We're here because we have a tornado warning for parts of Bibb and Chilton counties. And again, I'm going to take the radar data off. To the north of the tornado warning, we have parts of Bibb and southern Shelby with a severe thunderstorm warning. But the reason we're here, it's the red polygon shape, and that is the tornado warning. That clips the far southeast part of Bibb County. And again, we stress, if you live in Centerville, Brent, West Blockton, this is not close to you. Pondville, you have never been under a tornado warning. This is for the far southeastern part of Bibb County. In Chilton County, it includes downtown Clanton and points north, Jemison and Thorsby. And if you are up in that end of Chilton County, this northern end up here, we advise folks to be in a safe place until the storms pass. Again, the signature looks very ill-defined at this point, and I would imagine at any moment we'll get a cancellation from the Weather Service on this, and we can pick back up the newscast. But again, we're going to hold it here until as long as the warning is in effect. I'll go back to the watch warning map, and again, this is the larger view of this, and you can see we still have a tornado watch until 11 for the counties in purple. That would be for Tuscaloosa and Birmingham and points south. This includes in the watch places like Talladega, Ashland, Lineville, Wadowee, Roanoke, and points south. The watch does not include Anniston or Gadsden. The air is cool and stable over northeast Alabama, and the odds of the unstable air making it that far does not include Anniston or Gadsden. The air is cool and stable over northeast Alabama, and the odds of the unstable air making it that far north at this point look relatively small. Up in the Tennessee Valley, parts of Madison County under a flash flood warning, that green polygon you see there. And down in parts of southwest Alabama, there is a flash flood warning in effect for all of Choctaw County. And really, the good news, that's the only tornado warning in the whole United States right now. We have no active tornado warnings in South Mississippi. We have no tornado warnings in effect for the Florida Panhandle. I take that back. There is one that's down here near Apalachicola and Port St. Joe. That is a polygon for the Gulf Coast region. But other than that, that's about it, and that's certainly good news. So, again, there's your polygon, a tornado warning for parts of northern Chilton and the southeastern corner of Bibb counties in effect until 6:45. A late report, this is from Hale County, from the line of storms that came through earlier. Some trees were blown down. In Hale County, this is south of Greensboro near County Roads 29 and Alabama Highway 25. That happened about 5:29. Other than that, I have not heard of any specific damage from this. Now, we have some new severe thunderstorm warnings for the southern end of that line that just painted up on the map. The counties in yellow. We now have severe thunderstorm warnings in effect for the southern part of Chilton, the eastern part of Dallas, all of Autauga, and all of Lowndes counties. So if you are in those communities, you could see straight line winds, maybe in the 40 to 50 mile per hour bracket. And the good news, the tornado watch is being cleared for counties in West Alabama. If you're living in Tuscaloosa, hey, good news, the tornado watch has been canceled. The tornado watch has been canceled for Hale, Greene, Pickens, Tuscaloosa, Perry, Marengo, Sumter. You are now not in a tornado watch anymore, and that's great news. So the main issue, it's going to be along and to the east of that line. So let's paint the radar back on the screen. And again, you can see the line of storms is moving steadily to the east. We'll go ahead and take a look at that, and you can see that it's, in fact, I'm going to change it over to this, which is going to be an animation we can make to make it loop through, and you can get an idea of the motion of this. These are racing along at a pretty good clip. That's, if there's any good news about this in terms of the flooding potential, the reason there are no flash flood warnings, the line's moving along so quickly. This thing is moving along at probably 40, 55 miles an hour, and that heavier batch of storms will exit over into East Alabama where the air is more stable. But I'm telling you again, that warning is right along that warm front boundary. So let's go back to the high-resolution radar. And this is the one that we watch in the weather office. I know it's not as pretty to see on television, but I'm telling you, this gives us a wealth of information. This is broad rotation you see here that is located on the Chilton-Bibb County line. The city of Clanton is right here. Interstate 65 is here. US 31 is right here. This is Thorsby and this is Jemison. This rotation is moving to the northeast. And again, it's very broad. And checking what they're going to do here. We're going to see if they're going to cancel the warning, and they have not at this point. I would imagine that they probably will here shortly, and that is not a classic tornado signature. But again, what I'll do is animate this thing, and you can see at one point it was very tight. When the warning was issued, this was a very well-defined rotation. And then here in the last few frames, it has weakened a good bit and become much broader. And that circulation is now well to the east of US 82. So let's go back to the main graphic system. This is the prettier one, if you will. And I'll stop the animation. And there you go. You can see, if I could identify this on this system, it's going to be right in here. Circulation is passing a tad north of Maplesville. This is US 82 right here, so I can give an all clear. Now, understand, when I give an all clear, this is from this rotation. It's still pouring rain through that part of Chilton County, Maplesville down to Stanton, Ryderville. It's just pouring. I mean, it is a you can't see the other side of the street. It's raining so hard. But in terms of the rotation, that is east of US 82. So you can drive on 82 without the worry of a tornado. You'll just deal with the heavy rain. Again, this is Alabama Highway 191, this road right here. That's Alabama Highway 139. 139 runs from Wilton down to Maplesville. 191 goes from Jemison down to Highway 22 near Maplesville. And that circulation will be crossing over Highway 191 here pretty shortly. But again, looking at the velocity display I'm seeing here, it's a very broad circulation. And still no cancellation, so we're the way it works here, we hold it here until the Weather Service decides to cancel this, and they have not done that at this point. So I'll take off the doodling, and what you see there, I'll let you see a larger view. The next question many people are asking on Twitter is this the end of it once this line passes? Well, I honestly believe we can say that once this line passes, this is going to be the end of this significant severe weather threat. But understand, it's going to rain pretty much all night long over North Alabama behind that line. and we could easily see some flash flooding problems. So I think the severe weather threat will fade once this line passes, but in terms of the rain, no, you're going to have rain much of the night. People are asked so many questions about traveling tonight, and that folks are trying to get home for Christmas or get to grandmama's house, and it's all a matter of your tolerance to driving in rain. It's going to rain most all night long. If you can wait, the best thing to do is just do it tomorrow, in that tomorrow conditions will be much more favorable for driving. All right, they're now canceling the tornado warning. All right, the Weather Service, as expected, and again, you can see behind me here, that is very broad. There's no tornado there. I'm just telling you, there's no tornado. So the Weather Service has canceled the tornado warning for Bibb and Chilton. So I will let our producer tell me what to do. So we now have no tornado warning. It is over. We're going to toss to break. We'll be back. Stay with us as ABC 3340 News continues.